Before we start today's episode, I want to give a few words to one of our sponsors, which is Stutterbox Productions. If you're looking for a solid team of people to get you started with your next gig or event, this is the company to contact. They're actually bringing back Field Trip in September 16th and 17th, and they have plenty more shows lined up. If you guys have not been to Field Trip, that is a blast, legendary, one of the top shows to go to in Iowa. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Stutterbox Productions' Facebook page for all of your needs today. Guerrilla Graphics Design Agency. If you want to plan your next video or project, Guerrilla Graphics Design Agency can provide you with a clean and fresh looking product. Having personally collaborated with this company several times myself, I can say from experience they know their shit, and working with them has been worth every penny. Head over to GuerrillaGraphics.com for all of your design needs today. That's GuerrillaGraphics.com. You're watching / listening to the McAllister Hours. I'm your host, as always, Cole McAllister. We're joined today by Yung Hunny. How are you doing today, man? Great.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. Yeah, you had a decent drive over here. You had to go through some downtown traffic, though, you said.
Yeah, it was kind of tough. Not gonna lie. I'm from, Ottumwa, so traffic is 10 cars. So once there's 2 lanes full of traffic, then it's just anxiety, just gripping the steering wheel.
Well, that's cool thing. That's kind of the weird cool thing about Iowa. If you live in a city like Des Moines, you meet a lot of people who are just from a small town. They can totally relate. And then there's that blend of people from Chicago, and there's a whole spread.
Yeah.
There's a whole spread. Well, let me ask you first. Let me just say this first off the bat. I really love your music. Actually, yesterday I was just playing through Halo, and I just put your fucking playlist on. And I was just playing through it. I love you have a very Joji, almost an anti-pop kind of vibe. I'm a big fan of that style. You do it well. You're saying you play the guitar, and you obviously do all these things well. What went into the name Yung Hunny? What started all this for you?
Well, so there's a couple things that I can say about that. It's so first of all, my grandma's nickname is Grandma Honey. So that kind of played into it, but I didn't even really realize that until after I'd kind of come up with the name, because my name's Hunter, so Hunter. And then so my friends, I jokingly said one day, how did this go? So I basically started making little rap songs, just kind of fucking around basically, and then my friends were like, "Yo, what's your rapper name?" And I was just didn't even really give it much time. I was like, Yung Hunny, and it just stuck. So I don't know. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. It kind of doesn't. I don't really think it fits my vibe that much anymore, but because I was back when I was making SoundCloud rap Lil Pump type songs, just not even recording them or anything, just writing them, but. It's kind of funny now. I think it's funny because it's a rapper name, but I don't even make rap music. So people always call me a rapper now, though. It's kind of funny.
It's funny. Well, you were at the Hip Hop Showcase.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I played my guitar at the Hip Hop Showcase. Believe it or not, that was.
Yeah, I bet they love that though. I mean, that's probably the first time I've heard it happen over there. So
it was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. One of the things that I find most impressive about what you do is this, from what I understand, you do basically every aspect of your music. Yeah. You write it, you record it, you do your own promo art. That in itself is fucking insane. I do not of the people who we've had in here, I don't know very many people who do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I pretty much just do everything. I have been working with an engineer out of Nashville though, so he has kind of touched up my last 2 singles that I put out, Marble Red and All Right. Yeah, he's fucking great. I love him. He's super, super good at what he does.
That's awesome. Did you find that online, or is that a personal connection for you?
Yeah, he's actually I don't know, I just found him through Instagram, through another person, another producer that I followed. And
okay.
So, yeah, we just kind of got connected and started working. But yeah, he's super cool dude. Super nice. I was actually in Nashville a couple months ago. I got a chance to meet up with him, and he's fucking nicest dude ever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Drove all the way across the city to come and pick me up and just hang out for a little bit. Yeah.
Wow.
Super cool guy. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So
shout out to Zach.
have you been doing any kind of performing outside of Iowa? Have you gotten those chances or?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'd like to, but I don't know. It's a lot to It's hard. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever tried to fucking book your own shows at venues. It's kind of tough, especially if you've never really performed there or you don't know somebody that knows somebody type of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to just reach out and be like, yo, let me you hop on that, they're gonna not even gonna look at your fucking email or whatever.
Yeah, it really, like, you know, the whole industry really is like a who you know kind of thing.
100%.
You know, that's just how it works. What are some of like your influences that go into your music? Like what inspires your sound? Too hard of a question?
I don't know. It's kind of a broad. It's a very broad. Like,
I guess let me ask you this: what would you, for those who haven't listened to your music, what would you describe yourself as genre-wise?
Like indie pop, bedroom pop,
okay,
indie rock, kind of. I don't know. It's kind of like a rock vibe, but it's more of like a pop production style. I don't know. I would say it's like indie pop would probably be the most generalized way to put it.
Yeah. Well, I really, like I said, I really love your vibe. How long have you been playing guitar?
I've never even thought about that. Let's see. 13 years?
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, and you're 20, you said?
Yeah, so I started when I was 7.
Okay.
Formally taking lessons, I should say. I did kind of get like a little like toy guitar when I was like 5 or 6, and I kind of just fucked around on it for so long. And then I'd always, like, when I was in daycare, like I had a group of friends and we had like an air guitar band kind of thing. Like one of them would beat sticks on a table and I would play air guitar and stuff like that. And so I always begged my parents, I'm like, I want to play guitar. And they're like, he's fucking 6 years old, like we're not buying him a guitar. And so I just begged for so long that eventually one year for Christmas they got me like a little toy guitar from like Target, and I played the shit out of it for like 2 years. And then eventually they were like, all right, well,
he earned it. Yeah,
maybe he's like actually kind of serious about it. So they got me like a pretty basic intro, like full-size guitar, and I started taking lessons, and then I like just took it from there. And I kind of stopped playing a little bit here and there because that's just life, you know. But then I picked it up again in like middle school, and so like middle school I had like a super hardcore like emo, like I didn't like have like the dyed hair or anything like that, but I was just like I'd just be wearing blue jeans and like fucking running shoes like a normal like white kid at fucking middle school. Yeah. And I in my headphones just like death metal, just like
yeah, your current look contrasts that quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's funny. I just kind of like I like as I get older, my appearance, my vibe just kind of changes as it's going, I guess. But it's funny to me.
Yeah. So how long were you like taking lessons? Like, cause like I feel like for me, cause I kind of started around the same age, like 8, 9, and like, but like there got to a point where I just stopped taking lessons. Like, was there a point that you just took off? And
yeah, it's kind of funny. I used to take lessons and at a place called West Music, downtown in Ottumwa, and then kind of stopped. Kind of stopped going because I wasn't like, my mom wanted me to learn like sheet music and shit like that, and that was fucking dumb. So I was like not fucking with the sheet music. You know, I would go in there, and there's this guy that taught me, and his name was Chick. His name was a dude named Chick. Super cool guy. And he would go in there, and then I would walk in, and he'd be like, "What's up, man? How you doing?" I was like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "So, what do you want to learn today?" I'm like, "Sweet Child of Mine." And so he'd be like, "Oh, awesome, let's do it." And so he would show me how to play these like classic rock songs, and like I could play these classic rock songs at like 8 years old. You could put a fucking basic ass sheet music in front of me, and I'd be like, I don't know, man. So my mom was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna take you somewhere else." So like, I did lessons there for probably 2 years, and then by the time I was like 9, I kind of stopped, and then I was just kind of playing on my own.
Okay.
And then like in middle school, there was another guitar teacher, Chris Hunter, super good teacher. I mean, both of those guys are really, really good, really talented guitarists from Ottumwa. And so I was learning some stuff from him, and he was kind of trying to show me sheet music style stuff, and yeah, no, same thing. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, it's
like your brain just can't transpose.
It's just that ADHD in me. I just like, I'm like, no, I don't really want to learn that. Like, I already kind of know how to play, and I'd rather just learn the songs that I want to play. So I learned the songs that I wanted to play instead of like learning sheet music. I still to this day, like I've been playing for what, 12 years, something like that. I can't read sheet music for the life of me.
So just tabs.
Yeah, I don't even really use tabs that much.
Oh, really? So, what are you just like audio visually learning it, like seeing somebody do it, or like working through it? Like, what's your?
Yeah,
you just work through it.
Yeah,
Damn.
most of the time. If I'm like learning a song, but to be honest, it's been so long since I've done that. Like, I can play like 3 songs that were just like the ones that I like learned to play guitar on. They're like engraved into my brain. But most of the time when I pick up a guitar, like I just play the songs that I've written because that's like all I remember how to play. Because it's been so long since I learned or I played those like classic rock songs. But some of them I can just pick it up and kind of.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, that's just a testament to you being into your craft, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I doubt Jimi Hendrix could just, like, you know, in his prime be like, hey, pull an album, I'm going to play through the whole thing. Maybe he could, but, like, I don't know. There is something to be said for, like, you know, being in the mindset of your own craft and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and, like, I can play bits and pieces here and there, but it's, like...
Yeah, sure.
Not like some of those guys that, like, only know how to play, like, classic rock songs, and you could be like, Stairway to Heaven. They're like, all right, we're doing it. And, like, they just fucking play it perfectly. Like... I can't do that. I can't even play my own songs half the time. Like whenever I've got a show coming up, I'm like, all right, fuck. Like I sit down in my room and I just like set up a microphone, plug in my guitar, and I basically just have to like relearn my own songs. Cause like
that's funny.
It's like the way that I do it. Cause like I produce, so it's not like I'm writing a song as I'm singing it. It's more like I'm sitting there and I'm fucking around on guitar, and then I'm like, I'll play something. I'm like, oh, that's cool, and then I'll just play it literally like 15 times. Like, all the guitars that you hear, like, in my song, like, I probably have not played that more than, like, 20 times. Like, I come up with a progression, I'm like, I like that, and then I will play it until I get a good enough recording of it, and then I won't touch it. Like,
do you think that's an advantage or disadvantage to, like, your art and your craft?
I don't know. I see it as an advantage. It's nice to be able to, like, to know how to kind of, like, throw it down like that and get a song going within like a couple of minutes, so the ideas are fresh in your brain or whatever, and then kind of go from there. But at the same time, like I said, I don't fucking remember how to play half of my songs, so
so do all of your songs like have like a root with guitar, or are there times that you're going off and like kind of doing it all in DAW? Like
it kind of depends on the song. Like some songs aren't really like super like indie based. Like some of them are kind of just more like, I was really into like lo-fi. That's kind of how I got interested in producing, is I wanted to like produce lo-fi. I was influenced by like this one lo-fi producer from Norway. I think her name's Evie. She makes like some really fucking cool lo-fi shit. And I used to play that a lot when I was like 14, 15. And then I was like, okay, like it'd be cool to like learn how to do this. And so I started doing that. And like, I don't know. It was never good, like, lo-fi beats, obviously, because I was, like, didn't know how to fucking produce. But as I learned, I kind of strayed away from it. But a lot of that, I feel like, kind of stayed with me. That general, like, low-key vibe, I feel like stuck with me a lot. But
cool, man. What DAW are you using? Putting all this on FL Studio. Hey,
producer version.
That's probably the most common, I would say, of the ones that come through here is FL. I'm able to not myself. I mean, I don't really produce much these days because I'm so into the podcast, but yeah, I always said Ableton was like it's my baby, you know.
And they all like do the same thing. Like people like shit on people who use FL. That's another thing. Like,
well, that's dumb.
Internet culture is always like, oh, you use FL, you're not a real fucking producer, dude. You're a fucking nerd. Like you fucking suck. It's like, dude, they all do the same fucking thing, like, just different, like, layout.
Yeah, I mean, there are, like, top-tier hip-hop producers that are using, like, fucking, like Audacity level, like DAWs, you know,
it doesn't
like,
matter,
just sampling.
It doesn't matter what you're using, as long as you know how to use it correctly, you can make a hit record, like.
It's the end product.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another philosophical question. Do you feel that, like, with like the ease of technology, like for people to be able to do this easier, do you think that devalues music at all?
No.
Okay.
I have a kind of an unpopular opinion. I've thought about that a lot, actually, because I'm also kind of an aspiring engineer myself, and so I've thought about that a lot of like, okay, the new age of music is totally home recording. I'm like, the need for engineers is going to go down. Well, my opinion on that is completely changed. Because you can engineer something yourself. It's like, you can fix your car yourself.
Yeah.
But it might not might not work very well.
There's always going to be incentive to hire specificity.
Yeah, and so it's always better to hire a good engineer to fix up your shit and make it sound good. Because, like, the way I see music, and you could probably relate to this if I gave you examples, but
Sure.
a bad song that is mixed well will outplay a good song that is mixed bad. Because music is not necessarily about what you're hearing, it's how you're hearing it, and the feeling of the vibrations from the speakers and the atmosphere that it provides that really gives you that headspace when you're listening to a song that, you know, transfers you to another place, you know what I mean? And so if you can't achieve a good sound like that, it doesn't matter how good your lyrics are in the song, it doesn't matter how well, like, how good the beat is or whatever. If it's mixed like shit, it's going to sound like shit on speakers, and you're not going to want to listen to it. But if you get, like, a really just basic, shitty sounding song, like, basic lyrics, like, when you're paying attention to the lyrics, you're like, what the fuck is this? But at the same time, the beat is really good beat, and it's mixed really, really well. And, like, you don't even think about it. You might not like the lyrics, but you're still kind of just, like, passively listening to it. But if it's a bad mix and it sounds like shit coming out of the speakers, you're actively going to be noticing this, like, okay, that sounds bad, and you're going to skip it. So I think having a good engineer or learning to engineer yourself is probably one of the most important parts about music production, because that is really going to make the difference of, like, getting somewhere, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, I think audio is, well, audio in general, but, like, especially for that, like, having that specificity is extremely important. I'm in video production, and one of the things they teach us is, like, bad audio outweighs bad visuals.
Exactly.
Like, you can have, like, a guy, you can even have a shot where, like, a guy has, like, a microphone in the back, and that's not going to be as bad as if you have an audio track that's, like the audience is honestly, like, you know, they can tell that it's bad.
Yeah.
You know, there's it's important. It's really important to have that, specificity and all that. Let me ask you this: like, what goes into, like, some of the themes of your song? Like, I kind of get, like, you had the song called Marble Red, and I'm a former cigarette smoker myself, so listening to that was kind of nostalgic.
Yeah. So what do you?
Sorry. What goes into your music? Like, some of the themes, like what? Like, I don't know, because, like, you had, like, a TikTok, because you're on TikTok also. You have funny TikToks where, like, you're responding to, like, people's criticisms of, like, your music, like, how, like, the lyrics aren't, like, don't have, I don't know. Do you know what video I'm talking about?
Yeah, where people say I sound like fucking Post Malone. Is that what it was?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Or, like, they just don't like the lyrics or something. I don't know.
It sounds familiar, to be honest. Most of that shit. Most of the time, my brain is just on, like.
How often are you TikToking?
How often are you TikToking? You sound like a boomer. That's like some shit my dad would say. But I don't know. I don't really make a lot of them, but I'm on TikTok a lot.
I'm TikToking every day, motherfucker. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get a little more active on it. It's just,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to just make a bunch of, like, random fucking videos. I don't want to just, like, spam my music either. Because, I think that, you know, I've had, like, my ups and downs with TikTok where I was initially I was like, oh, I don't want to be known as, like, a TikTok artist. It's like, okay. So I didn't ever really post on TikTok regarding my music that much. But what I've kind of realized is, like, okay, now maybe start using it as a different approach of, rather than just, like, listen to my song. It's like, make music that's, like, behind the scenes. Kind of use it as, like, a little, like, behind the scenes vlog, like, hanging out with friends, like, you know, every now and then post a song where it's, like, post your music where you're, like, promoting it and being, like, you know, it's obviously, like, a promotion for your song, but it's not necessarily, like, go stream now, like, type of thing. Stuff like that I feel like works really well, because it's, like, you're getting people to listen to it without listening to it, because, like, 9 times out of 10, if someone's, like, comes across my For You page and they're like, whoa, I just dropped a new song, like, scroll. Like, 90% of the time, like, and it's not that, like, I think it's gonna be bad, it's just, like, something in my brain is just, like, it's like, no, like, I don't want to, like, you know what I mean? Like, music to me is always kind of more about, like, a personalized thing, where it's like you find a song that you really like, and it's like, oh man, like, I found this really cool song, like, it's super cool. But I feel like when people are just like, hey man, listen to my song, and then you're like, okay, and it's just like, it doesn't have that that feeling to it. I don't know. I mean, every now and then it does, obviously, but
No, yeah, you don't want to be like you said. You don't want to be spam. You want to
Yeah.
you want it to be authentic, and like you have your mind in the right place in that aspect. Like people
Yeah.
are more interested in seeing like the behind the scenes stuff than hey guys, check out my new single out
yeah,
now. You know,
yeah. Because like if I knew if like I was somebody that was following somebody like me, like even if I really really liked their music and they were constantly just like stream my new song, go listen to my new song. Like it's like okay, dude, it's a good song, but like
yeah,
change it up a little bit, like gain followers from like other things, like funny segments, funny clips, like get people to like enjoy you as a person, and then like maybe they'll enjoy your music too.
yeah. So how often you like putting out music? Like you putting out singles, albums? Like how does that work?
I put out an album in 2020 mostly because it was just like fucking quarantine and I had a shitload of time on my hands. But dude, that album was like solo produced and recorded and engineered by me, and like I did it in the span of April to October. How many months would that be? Well,
Like
technically
5.
April to September.
Yeah, 4 or 5, something.
4 or 5 months.
April, May, March, or April, May, June, July, August, September, 6, 7,
6-7 months.
Yeah, September,
Yeah.
October, 6, 7 months.
So I produced like a 13-track album in like 6 months by myself, and that was fucking a lot of work. It was so much work, dude. But it was really fun because I spent a lot of that time like recording it with my friends, because I've got friends from the area that make music. My friend Ryan goes by Green, GR33, and yeah, he's on one of my songs on the album. But we actually had like built like a recording studio in his dad's garage. It had like a booth and shit, and so
nice.
we would be in there from I would get off work at like 11 o'clock at night, and we'd go in there until like 4 in the morning. Like just like making songs. Like the last song on my album is called 3 a.m. and it was like literally 3 in the morning. Like that was like the outro was like we didn't even realize it was recording. We just left it in there because it was funny. It was like, oh well, it's 3 in the morning. Should probably go to bed now. Like, but yeah, so it was just super fun. But yeah, I just been putting out a lot of I wouldn't say a lot. I've been putting out singles because I'm starting to get a lot more just more and more meticulous with my work. And my production, I'm putting a lot more work into it. Plus, I've kind of learned that producing that indie stuff is it's a lot. It's a lot more than just making 8-bar loops with 808s in it and shit. It is like all live instruments. Like you gotta like humanize the drums, because all the drums in my songs that sound like real drums are not. They're not real drums at all. They're sampled, but and like you have to do a lot of like adjustments to like velocity and stuff like that to get it to sound like natural and realistic. So like it's super fine detailed things into those songs that make them take forever. Like I've been working on a song right now and it's like halfway written and like not even done, and I think my project said I've spent like 26 hours on it. Like yeah, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to make a
so
song
what
like
exactly is like, is it just you like making it that detailed through the process, or are there like multiple instruments you have to record? Like what exactly is making it?
It's multiple instruments, multiple like drum tracks, different sections of the song, different instruments, and then kind of mixing. I do like a little bit of mixing here and there. That's a lie. I mix the fuck out of it as I'm basically producing it, because that like I like to kind of hear how I want it to sound in the end product as I'm going with it. That really just helps.
I see.
Kind of solidify the idea so I don't lose it. So a lot of that time is kind of just mixing and tinkering with like panning and automation and like those like filter sweeps where it's like shit sounds like it's going underwater or stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like super fine little detailed stuff here and there, just kind of to brighten it up. And, you know.
So, and have you self-taught pretty much all this, or have you gone through courses, or like?
Nah, YouTube University.
Okay, fuck
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm in video production myself. I really wonder like how long that's actually going to be valuable and worth it. Is like the standardized education for arts. It's just, it doesn't really make sense in like the YouTube sphere, you know.
Yeah, and like my engineer Zach, he even kind of was like, yeah man, like you don't really need to go to school for that, like you can learn a lot of that shit on your own. But
yeah, it's just about the persistence.
And it's like I mean that stuff is still going to be beneficial, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what he was talking about too. It's like he's like, I'm not saying you're not going to learn anything. I'm just saying like you could learn that same stuff like on your own, but the way I see it is like, okay, how am I going to know what to learn at the same time? So I am planning on doing a program out in Boone like next year. So
nice. Is that through DMAC or
no? It's through
Sorry, I need to give it your private information.
My brain is just like spaghetti. But it's through the LA Recording School, and it's like a what's it called, satellite program.
Okay.
Through a recording studio up there.
Okay, I've heard there's a lot of correlation between like Cali and Iowa. Like there's a lot of intermingling and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and so it's LA Recording School. Basically, one of the engineers at that studio, I think, is like qualified to like teach engineering. And so basically, I'll be like an intern for like 6 months to a year or something like that. It's kind of like the same as like a welding degree, like a technical degree.
Okay.
And so, I'll be kind of like shadowing him and like interning or whatever. And then at the end of the program, it's like you either pass, or you're probably going to pass more than likely. It just depends on how good you are or not.
Yeah. Well, you work it through it. That's the key. I assume a lot of it.
Yeah. And I haven't technically gotten accepted to it, but I don't know.
Well, you have, that's one of the things also that's impressed me about you is you have quite the following on like Spotify and like social and all that. So
I try.
I think that would maybe give you some backing as well.
Yeah, and I have a lot. I have a lot of knowledge on that stuff already too. Not saying I know everything. I don't fucking know. I feel like I know like maybe like a quarter of what I should know. But I have a decent enough understanding to like if they're like telling me super in-depth stuff about like, oh, you need to like start like multi-band compressing at like 32 hertz at -2 dB. I'd be like, oh, okay. Most people that might just go over their head, but stuff like that I would understand. If they like told me what to do and how to do it, then I could do it. But just kind of on my own, I'm like, man, how the fuck do I make this sound good? Like, I don't really know what to do. And sometimes I know what to do and I just don't know how to do it right. So I feel like something like that would be super beneficial.
Yeah, that I will say that is kind of the downfall to like the YouTube university kind of stuff is like there's a lot of benefit to having at times, having somebody over your shoulder. But a lot of that can also be just done through like social interaction, like branching out, finding other people who are in that profession and that are maybe willing to help you. Yeah. Mutual benefit, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck yeah, man. Do you just a random question, do you listen to Kendrick Lamar at all?
No, not really. I'm gonna be honest. I listened to what was that album he put out like years ago?
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
No, that's the new one.
Oh,
I listened to the old one. Was it
the one he put out years ago? Like Good Kid, Mad City, Butterfly. One of them. One of the earlier ones. Damn. Yeah,
oh,
hey, yeah.
I listened to that one a lot with my friends, but I don't know. I never really got into it. He's a fucking great artist. There's just sometimes there's people like that where I'm like, it's good. It's just not really my thing.
Yeah, I feel that. Are you into hip hop really at all, or are you just kind of sticking your?
A little bit, yeah. Okay. I kind of listen to more like, kind of like lo-fi, like underground style stuff, like kind of more like, I don't even know, like Joji style stuff, but I wouldn't even call that hip hop. But I don't know, like Mac Miller type stuff. I don't really listen to Mac Miller, but like that general vibe, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Yeah, I do listen to a lot of that, but I also listen mostly just like indie rock bands and shit. Yeah, sure. Well, and you can tell that in your music. It's pretty prevalent, your style, and but you also have like your unique sound as well. It's yeah, you know how you utilize the guitar. It's all it's very cleverly done. You do a good job, man. Thank you. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to mention while we're doing this? Like anything else in your mind? Dish it out or. Try to put you on the spot. I don't know, man. I didn't tell you to come prepared or anything. Go follow me on SoundCloud. Actually, don't follow me on SoundCloud. I have a fucking story about this, and I'm still really, really, really pissed off about this. Go into it. So I had a song that I put out like a little over a year ago. Like it would have been like April of last year, and it's called "Come With Me," and it's my most popular song. And it is kind of like a lo-fi, low-key rap song, kind of hip-hop. I wouldn't really call it rap, but it's kind of just like a pop lo-fi song. Sure. Super good song. One of my favorites that I've ever made. And I put it up on SoundCloud, And at that point, I kind of had a little bit of a buzz on my SoundCloud because I had a song from my album that got picked up by the algorithm. And so it was, at that point, it was like at 100,000 plays. And I was like, I couldn't fucking believe it. Like, that was super cool to me. And so I put this song out, and it didn't really do that good for the first, like, month and a half. Like, it was maybe at like 3,000 plays, which is pretty average. Yeah. And then one day I checked it, and it was at like 10,000 plays. And then, like, it just like kept going up and up and up, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then by like May, the end of May, like in the month of May, I should say, it had, just in the month of May, it had like 100,000 streams. And like the month before, it had like 25,000. So it's at like 120 something thousand streams in like a month and a half. And I'm like, couldn't fucking believe it. And so at that point, I was getting paid by SoundCloud. I was getting royalties and shit. Wow. And it wasn't very much. I mean, like, I was getting, averaging, from that one song, I was getting like 20,000 plays a month, or like 15,000, 20,000 plays a month, and I was getting like $30. I mean, not a lot, but I mean, it's fucking $30 passive income for a song that I made. Like, it's cool. Like, it was nice to have it. Save it away, put that money towards like, gear, headphones, cables, microphones, shit like that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, deal. I'm about to get a bag from this month. And I was like super excited. And then, by the time like June came around, it had got like 90,000 plays that month. So it's at like 200,000 plays. And like, I'm fucking couldn't believe it. I was like, man, this song is like doing really good. Like, this might kind of be like a nice little break for me. And so I gained a pretty good following off of that. And then about July had rolled around, and then it was kind of on the downward curve, obviously. So it was probably about 60,000 plays. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And I'm like, wait a minute. I never got paid for the month of May. Like, that's weird.
Your biggest month.
And so my biggest month. And so I'm like, that's fucking weird. And so I email SoundCloud, and I realize at that point it's not showing my earnings at the bottom of the page, because it'll show your earnings if you are on the monetization side of SoundCloud. Mm-hmm. It'll show your earnings for the month at the bottom of your page. And so I noticed I wasn't seeing that. I was like, what the fuck? That's weird. And so... And, like, keep in mind, all these plays are from the algorithm. I was getting people DMing me on Instagram that were like, hey, I found your song from an MGK. It was like an MGK radio on SoundCloud. Like, my song got in there somehow. And so
okay.
People, it was just recommended, like, algorithm style placement. And that's, like, a majority of those people were like, yo, I found your MGK radio on SoundCloud, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, that's super dope. Whatever. Like, I don't really like MGK, but... It's fucking, if my song sounds like that, and people are listening to it, I don't care. But anyways, I email SoundCloud, and I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I noticed that I wasn't getting my stream revenue for the last couple of months. I was wondering if there's like an issue with my PayPal or with my debit card or with my account, blah, 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 whatever. Just let me know what I can do to get it fixed. And they're like, they get back to me like 2 days later, and they're like, we have removed you from the monetization program for, I can't remember exactly how they put it, but they basically were like, you used bots. You used bots to run up your streams, and you falsified the numbers. You falsified the numbers on your account, blah, 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 and we're not going to pay you any money, and you've been removed, and you're never going to make money from SoundCloud again. I'm like, I woke up at like 9 a.m. one day, read that like half asleep. I'm like, no fucking, like, I instantly started like typing like book to them, like, no, like, that's not what happened. Because like I'm the last person to like do that shit, to like run up numbers to be like, oh, look at me, I got all these streams, like, because I know they're not fucking real if you do that. Like, I know. And like, the way I see my music is, I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm not doing it to impress anybody. It's like, I make music for myself, and then I think it's cool when other people like it. You know what I mean? It's a very personalized thing to me. Like, I listen to my own music all the time because I made the songs for me. Like, but anyway, so they're trying to be like, oh yeah, you paid for streams, blah, blah, blah. I tried to like fight them about it. I was like, no, like, that's not what happened. Like, please look into this. And like, I don't have my laptop, but I could show you. If I go on my SoundCloud and I go to my statistics, it'll show you where my streams came from, and 90% of the streams from that month, it says algorithmic. playlist.
Damn, you haven't consulted their legal team or anything like that?
There's nothing I can do. I've tried to email them a couple times and they just stopped responding to me.
Wow.
They just
that's
said
fucky.
they basically were just like, close the door and like, fuck you, we're taking your money.
Yeah. Well, fuck SoundCloud.
Yeah, fuck SoundCloud. So follow me on Spotify.
God damn.
Yeah, it's fucked up, and it really sucks because it is kind of my most popular platform now. Because like I've gained such a good following off of a couple songs that like I do make a majority of my streams off of SoundCloud, and I don't get paid for any of them. It's fucked up.
Damn.
As tough as stream revenue is to make, like I was doing okay, and they're like, no, go fuck yourself.
God damn, dude. So do you even still post stuff on there, or did you?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I still do it. It's because my following on there is pretty good. So.
Fuck, dude. God, that's bullshit. I don't know if I've quite heard of a story like that.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's really fucked up.
With SoundCloud specifically, like.
Yeah, there's a TikTok I made about it on my page. If you ever want to like look into it, it has like the screenshots from my emails and shit. Because like I went public about it because I was pissed. Yeah. Because if I did like buy bots and I got popped for it, I'd be like, oh fuck, like. Oh, I found out. Yeah. No, but like I was so fucking mad.
Well, I mean, if they have the data to back up that their original plays, then that's fraud. I mean, 110%.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had a monetization agreement, and then they broke off your monetization agreement right when you peaked off of off a basis that just wasn't true. And then if you can see on their platform that it's not from bots, that's from these initial plays, then yeah, they're frauding you. That's illegal.
If anybody out there has a really good lawyer, give me their fucking information right now. But yeah,
that's fraud, man.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Take them to court for that.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
I wish I could.
America is a shitty place to live, but that is one of the few good things about living in this country is that you can do that.
That's facts. I don't know. I'll look into it, but it's not even that much money that I made. So
well, pray for Yung Hunny, everybody. God damn, dude. That's a sad story.
It really is, man. I'm still like, this happened like a year ago, and I'm still super pissed about it. Because they just accused me of it, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. Like, I even told them, like, look at the stats. Like, look at the in-depth, like, numbers. Like, if 100,000 people listen to it in a month, the chance that it came across, like, a bot account at some point, probably did.
Yeah.
But that happens, like, everybody. It's not that I paid for 100,000 streams or anything like that. It just.
Yeah. Well, they're big steppers, man, and they're fucking you up.
Yeah. Fuck SoundCloud.
Fuck SoundCloud. But the silver lining is that you're obviously a force to be reckoned with if you're getting fucked with like that. So
yeah.
That means just keep going it and keep doing it, and yeah, you're getting it. Well, I mean, you already have the following on Spotify, and like you're doing really well. I look up to you, man. You're doing well in terms
appreciate
of
that,
your music and all that. What do you got coming down the pipeline in terms of album releases, single releases, and that kind of stuff?
I'm working on a couple of different singles. I've got one called Cliche. It's pretty much done. Just working on like maybe redoing some of the vocals and mixing and tightening up. Hopefully it'll be out in like July. That's what I'm shooting for at the latest. Maybe even in June, but probably not. That's probably cutting it a little close. But July, it should be, I'm thinking like mid-July for a single and maybe a music video for it.
Awesome.
There's just a lot of shit that goes into that. So like that's the thing about releasing music. Is like if you want to release a song in July, you got to have everything done like in May. And then you got to set up a music video in June and get the music video done before the song releases. And that's how you do a release. That's what I did with Marlboro Red. And, like, that song was done for, like, 2 months before I put it out.
Damn.
But, yeah.
That's the proper way to do it, though. People don't think about that. Yeah. That is kind of like the downfall of, like, this, like, the SoundCloud, Spotify era is, like, people will just, like, oh, it's done, then they just put it up.
Yeah. No, it's... If you want it to do well and, like, do promotion and shit like that, it's so much work, dude. Yeah. It is so much work.
Yeah. You got to sit on it, too,
It can get really, really tiring, too. Like, a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress of, like... I spent 30 fucking hours making this song. Like, now I got to put that kind of effort and that energy into like promoting it to make sure people listen to it and make sure it does good and shit like that. And I'm not very good at promoting. I really need to work on that stuff. But thankfully, I don't know, my fans and my followers still listen to it. So shout out to you guys.
Hell yeah. That's what's important. fuck, this has been a great episode, man. It was a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, for sure.
Guys, stay tuned. We'll be back in a few days. Young Hunny. All right.